Hey guys, I hope we're doing good. And today I want to do a podcast. Obviously, it's a podcast. And today, I want to do a podcast basically about my experience of, as a dyslexic person, of going to a monastery, temple place. And how that sat with me, and you might, and this is the intro video, but you might say like, wait, going to a temple, how's that got anything to do with dyslexia? I would feel it as a lot because I came up with so many challenges, like internal challenges and internal struggles. And a lot of those struggles are because of dyslexia and because of this feeling that we don't feel enough. And when you have nothing else to do apart from think, or notice your thoughts, that's when these things become really, really prevalent. So I hope you enjoy today's podcast.
So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe, where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast.
So, the story of me going to a temple, my experience of what I learned about myself. I can always start, and this is about 2 to 3 days, 3 days after the temple experience when I left it. When I came there, I remember I came there and I said to everyone, and I emailed them, how long? They said, how long do you want to stay? I remember when I came there, and the mic said, how long do you want to stay? I want to stay 5 days. I said, 5 days I'll stay for 5 days. I didn't. I stayed there for about a day and a half. And a lot shorter because it was a different internal experience I could ever had before in my life and I could ever describe before. And this whole experience is very, very surreal. If you listen to this, you're probably in the Western world. And this particular monastery, I've never been to monasteries before, and how I found it out about 6 to 8 months ago. I met some people, and they were going to the monastery, so I basically came along with them, and I wanted to stay for 5 days. I only could stay for a day because I had to do things with work, so I went back for work, thinking I will come back there again. Long story short, I came back there again. This whole experience, basically, you turn up there, and it's the middle of like this weird forest place, and then you get off your little bike, whatever. This monk greets you, and he says hello, and he says, you want to stay? Okay, come with me. Okay, this, and because this particular retreat, I later found out, was very extreme. When I said extreme, it's hardcore, which meaning you want to practice. Which means practicing meditating, which means like being with yourself as much as possible, with your thoughts as much as possible, which means the least talking you do, the better. So the more thinking, least talking, and more observing. And so very little talking. And so the monk would say the least possible things, and what they say is very, very vague. And anyway, sort of I gave him my passport, gave him my stuff, they kind of showed me, kind of said, okay, have this, get this, and kind of walked down to my little place where I was staying. And basically, the place where I was staying, we went on this path. There's all these terminology and names that honestly I forget. But we went on this little path down in the little, nature's beautiful, the sounds, so many insects. I remember sitting on the floor when he was having my passport in and seeing like these massive ants, with tiny little ants, there's thousands of those, there's a couple hundred of these massive ants. And there's so many butterflies, it's beautiful. Anyway, we were walking along this little path, going along, not talking at all. I've had questions I could ask, obviously, and it would give me a straight answer. And then he said, okay, here's where you'll be staying, and just walked off and gave me the key, walked off, anything you need, go back here, ask the people, we'll meet us at 3:30 for sweeping. And basically I was like, and he just walked off. I was like, do I follow you away? Because he said some other stuff. Do I follow you? He's like, no, you just do your thing. Start meditating. And basically this tiny little room in the middle of the path, so it was very far apart from anyone. He said, like, this is where you shower. Basically, it's this little tap that's outside in the path. He said, if there's too many mosquitoes, go over here to shower. and it's like this little tap with a really dirty bucket, and you just pour water over yourself. In the middle of the path. But I've never seen, I haven't seen a lot of people go through the path, really. Anyway, this was the first day, and I got myself, like, I was like, okay, and this tiny little room was about 2 feet long, like 8 feet long, like on the floor, 8 feet length, and about 4 feet wide. My little place I was staying, completely wooden, and loads of cobwebs, and spent some time cleaning it up. I had some meditation books, but long story short, the whole thing there is like, when I was listening to the audiobooks, is okay, here you're supposed to meditate, you're supposed to practicing. And they said about 15 hours a day, 10 hours minimum. I was there for a day and a half. I couldn't do it for more than 5 minutes. When I say I couldn't, I didn't, and I tried. And one thing I want to work on, I'm being completely honest. I remember I mentioned this about of myself before, and with dyslexics, one of the biggest challenges we have, and I say this is the biggest universal like negative belief, is that we don't believe we're enough, because we are shown it through our education, through growing up, that we're not enough. So we're always working to be enough. And I beat myself up quite bad when I say, oh, you're a harsh critic. But I can get to times where it's like I can beat myself up sometimes. You know what I mean? And it's very destructive. And the reason why I cut it short, because I was just dealing with so much pain. You know what I mean? Like, try and do things, or just sitting there observing my thoughts. And the moment I try anything, it just hurt. And it caused a negative cycle. The negative cycle would get more and more and more. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that, like, I know it's a big problem, because and I was speaking to all the at the very end, I spoke to all the other lay people. That's what they call that. Me, I had to dress all in white. The monks dressed in but I'm lay people. I'm not practicing, like, this is a stage before monkhood, I think. I remember I chat to them people before I left, and chat to a few monks and stuff. But basically, they said yes, it's fine. Of course, it's hard. It's a journey, but it's not that the practicing or the meditating is hard. It's that I didn't meditate. I just stayed there. Like, I just observed my thoughts. I tried to meditate, and I had some reading. I tried to read, try to do things, but within a couple minutes, I just wouldn't. I'd be like, throw the book or whatever. Like, what's this? What am I doing? It was mental torture, and what was and it took me like a day, and like after I left, and I'm chatting to my mum and everything, and I remember it was very emotionally draining. And what was the emotionally draining part? Is just because I remember on the second day, I just cried like 3-4 times, because I was like, look, I'm finding it really hard, and it's a forest monastery, forest temple monks. I don't know names. It's in a place near Udon Thani in Thailand. To much, I don't know a lot of names. But anyway, this guy wrote a couple books. I listened to the audiobook. But like, there's a head monk there. People come for advice. Like, people in Thailand would travel for like days on end. Not days on end really, but like a day. It's not that olden times you can get anywhere in Thailand. It's like a day really, 24 hours in a bus. But I'd chat to the head monk, and the head monk, and the monk would say some advice. But anyway, like, a lot of it's all the lay people, the people in white doing what I'm doing, all spoke English. But I could barely. There's about tiny. You're not supposed to speak, but you do if you need to. So anyway, like, the advice was, of course it's hard, but I felt like there was a breakthrough happening, because it was so hard on myself, so hard on my mental self, because all the times we get we get conditioned. I think part of being human is, a lot of times, if you have nothing to focus on, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something to strive towards, we self-destruct. You know what I mean? If like a person doesn't know what they're doing and they self-destruct, it's like the average, I think it's like 2 years or something. It's very, very short, couple years. The average age from a man retirement to the man's death, like, is very short. Because when a person retires, well, especially men and women, it's slightly differently for the studies, because they have different purposes. But a lot of time, if like, I mean, the point is, if they don't have a purpose, people would like, why live? Or self-destruct in a sense. So I know that's like a big part, but I'm thinking all these people, like monks and everything, I don't want to meditate 15 hours a day for the rest of my life to be at peace, because I want to contribute. That's why I'm doing this podcast and all this other stuff. But I feel I want to be of service, and the biggest service you can be by becoming this monk and meditating for like 15 years before you can actually have something valuable to say, is just being an example and like being an inspiration. And I want to be more active. But the underlying thing is, I knew I'd had nothing to focus on, like particular, but I knew it was to observe my thought and relax. I was in a beautiful natural spot. I found it hell on earth, absolute hell on earth. And you could say, oh, that's ADHD. They could go, I'm not got ADHD, but you're dyslexic, you're on thinking and that. If you can't be happy being by yourself, that's not correct. You know what I mean? It's good making excuses for it when I say, oh yes, of course it's hard. But I mean, if I'm not happy just sitting down with my own company, like with zero distractions, if I'm not happy with that, if it's like, it shouldn't cause me mental pain, mental suffering to do that, and that's not good. And I would encourage everyone to try it. And like I hate giving up things because it's hard. Because being things hard isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I just felt like it was causing more of the negative cycle that would cause me more damage. Doing that, but I think this is the first step on my journey. So anyway, what I learned from this is that it's like the start of my journey. That like a lot of things what I talk about with dyslexia, and a lot of things like with the emotional side, is understanding it so you can work on changing it. But yet I think there's this, I don't know, but I just know that I beat myself up a lot, and I think we are facing this as well. I think you're facing, like, you know what I mean, if you listen to dyslexia, we beat ourselves up so much. Everyone in the rest of the world does, but especially when we get told we're not enough, especially when we get told we're not good enough. Try more, try harder, try this, try that. We beat ourselves up a lot more because we always want to do better. We never think we're enough, so we always consistently go. But I would say test yourself, invest, you know what I mean? Like, go to see your thoughts in a long time and kind of do nothing in a sense. And for me, it's something I'll investigate further. I don't know what means, I don't know what way, and monasteries you're completely free to go to, just kind of like maybe contact them beforehand. But meditating, in terms of, I see meditating, I used to do it, I don't do it every single day. I want to do it more religiously and more like consistently. But like the purpose of it is just to like really be in control of your mind and have benefit for the mind. It's like the Western style of meditating, which is like you do it for 10-15 minutes a day, whatever. But the Eastern style of meditating, you do it like 10-15 hours a day to kind of get at peace, and that's what you do for life. But in the Western style, it's like 15 minutes, and the purpose of it to make your other aspects, just like working out. You work out to make the other part of your life better. You don't work out to work out. So I don't want to meditate like for hours and hours and hours, and then I want it like, I do this little release meditation. I'm at work, and like the break between kind of my job work and my dyslexia work, like 5 p.m. is 5 minutes, like breathe in, breathe out, and at the end I just feel so rejuvenated, so focused, and so ready to do things. If I don't do that, I kind of feel a little scrambled or fatigued. So I feel being focused and focusing on these little things, like your breath, is so incredibly important, and important de-stressor, and it's an important habit to get, especially if you're really dyslexic. And I suppose one of the biggest lessons we can take from this, I know like it's been incredibly hard for me, and I know it's something that I need, like I'm at the very start, and what I like about it is that I feel it's bad, if you know what I mean. It's like I'm struggling myself. Like, I know my mental state, basically, if I act in a way that I don't want to act, but I act because I feel it, that's me not having control. You know what I mean? That's me not taking responsibility. That's me not having control of my emotions. That's me being at the rim of them, and I don't like that. And it's what we shouldn't strive towards. It should be what we strive against. We should strive towards being in control of our actions at like all times. not every single moment, but we can be in control. We take responsibility. We've got to take responsibility for that. And that's what I need, and that's what I do. And I feel there's a lot of times where I can be emotionally vulnerable when it's like emotionally. There's a lot of ads on the floor. That's not good. Anyway, emotionally vulnerable and emotionally, being emotionally vulnerable is okay, but being emotionally reactive isn't. And I feel I've been doing that a lot. And something we've got to work on. And the biggest thing we can take from this video is that it's this constant thing of improving ourselves. Because there's this saying that I know, the guy who changed my life, Tony Robbins, said it. It's this saying called "Can I?" Constant, never-ending improvement. Now, where this term got about is basically this Toyota. This guy came from America, came into Toyota, and made this. Made this term. I think it's "Can I?" or somewhere else. I think it's Japanese. But anyway, they use it in everyday language. It's basically this thinking system of constant, never-ending improvement. Just be improving the whole time. It's not about setting for a level. It's about improving it. What's your Kanai in this? What's your Kanai in your health? What's your Kanai in your relationships? What's Kanai in your business? What Kanai in your finances? It's constant, never-ending improvement. And we got to do this in ourselves. We have to do this in ourselves. Well, from one level, we have to do this not to let dyslexia stop us. Because if we're not doing this, dyslexia is going to stop us. But on this process of constant, never-ending improvement, we will never let our dyslexia stop us in our life. And if we're not improving, guess what? We're not staying the same. We're going down. Because if you work out for a year and stop working out, you stop improving, you will go down. Say, oh no, I'm just maintaining my muscle, I'm just maintaining my fitness. No, you're not. Say if you're not maintaining, let's say you live this, because if you think about the muscles, let's say you've worked really hard, you're really pushing your workouts, you increase your weights, let's say by 40 kilos or over a couple of years, or let's say by 25% over a couple of years. That's great. And let's say, okay, I'm at good muscle, I'm good strength, I'm going to maintain. I'm going to work out 4 times a week to maintain muscle by lifting these same weights, this many reps, for years and years and years on end. What happens is that the muscles will get stronger because they get used to the conditioning over years. Because working out, this is actually how the muscle, doing 100 push-ups a week for 1 year, for 6 months would get you so strong. But doing 100 push-ups a week for 20 years will actually get you a lot stronger. And the muscles will become a lot more developed and a lot more because there's different types of muscle, a lot more dense muscle and a lot more, not so much your muscles get big, but your muscles will be able to be a lot more healthier and ligaments and tendons and everything around it. Anyway, guys, we've done a lot. The purpose of this is to consistently improve, and pain is not a bad thing, and we got to observe ourselves and realize that our body, our mind, our thoughts, our feelings aren't us. It's it, and we have to observe it and learn about it and be able to use it for our advantage. Hope we take care, guys. Farewell and bye.